Good Life Easy Fight Night. We're here again.
Good Life Easy presents the Fight Night.
And today's agenda is, of course, what's going to go down on Sunday, UFC 260.
Yes, sir.
Was supposed to be a very, very hard card.
But now,
spectacular card, but out of 16 fights that were supposed to be on pay-per-view, 6 got cancelled. Of course,
6 of them got cancelled.
6 of them got cancelled. A lot of them got cancelled.
So all because of COVID?
Most because some because of COVID, some pulled out.
All right.
Yeah, so 6 fights apparently got cancelled. So what was supposed to be a blockbuster card is now, I would say, it's all about Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic, if you think about
that's
it.
the only fight I'm looking forward to for this Sunday.
Yeah.
This Brian Ortega was going to fight Volkanovski for the title.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely going to be a good fight.
For sure.
Even though Max Holloway beat Ortega also. And the last fight with Volkanovski was...
And Volkanovski beat Holloway twice.
Yeah, but
So
both the fights, it was... I would give it to Holloway.
Holloway, fair enough.
The second fight, it was 100%
Fair enough.
Holloway.
Fair enough.
Holloway was robbed the second fight. I saw it live.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But you don't leave it to the judges then, you know.
Never leave
So
it
it
to
is
the
what it
judges.
is. The champ is the champ right now.
Champ is the
Sitting
champ.
with the belt in Australia, tested positive. Gets to hold the belt for a little longer.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the fights that interest me. Of course, number 1 is Stipe Ngannou. Number 2 is... I would say I'm excited to see Abu Bakr, who is Khabib's teammate, come back and...
He's on the prelims.
Yeah, he's in the prelims. So I'm very excited to see Khabib again as the corner man.
Corner man.
Because you know there's going to be some shit going down.
Yeah.
And
The best translator in the game.
Yeah, the best translator in the game for sure. Other than that, I don't know. Like Tyron Woodley, who's coming out of 3 back-to-back very bad losses. Possibly he's lost 15 rounds in a row now.
He's
They're
not won a
saying
single
that,
round in, I think, 3-4 fights.
Yeah. So I think that's there. And then we got the prospect, Sean O'Malley.
Yeah. Tyron Woodley was a great fighter. As in, is a great fighter.
Ex-champ, man.
He was a champ and he had a great run.
Correct.
And he
Correct.
fought the best. He fought the best.
Fair enough.
But he's not. I think he also got into the rap game. He got into the media and all of that.
I'm sure.
Tried to cash out as a
I'm
champ.
sure. Yeah, 3 losses in a row. It's like if you don't win this, it's done for you. You know, it's
Kinda done,
it's like what next for you? Four losses in a row. Dana might just cut you.
Yeah. And the kind of performances Tyron has given,
No, he was a big name.
he is a big name. He should just have a good fight now. He needs
Fair
a
enough,
comeback.
fair enough.
He desperately needs a comeback.
Fair enough. So
Because now no one's talking on his name, bro. Nobody cares. Like, I bet you also don't give
I
a
don't
fuck.
care, bro.
I don't care, bro. And who is he fighting? Vincent
Luque.
Luque. I don't even know who
No,
he
bro.
is.
So basically, that's the scene. Even like the guy who Sean O'Malley's fighting, Almeida. He's also a new up-and-coming fighter. Very good, apparently. Fuck all defense. I saw his fights.
Yeah.
And Sean O'Malley, of course, we know he's got that knockout power.
Yeah.
Very strong. And of course, he's got the persona, the personality.
Yeah.
Walks in with tats and colored hair. So, some shit's about to go down.
Sean O'Malley, last fight I saw it live. I remember it was with Chito Vera, and I think he came in with an ankle injury. But what happened was that he got kicked on a nerve, and everybody watching the fight thought that he broke his ankle or something like that.
As good as breaking your ankle, right?
Yeah,
if
and
you get
then
a
he got
nerve
whooped
pull
out.
or...
So right now he's calling himself undefeated or not, which is pissing
Nah,
everybody
bro.
off.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit,
That's
bro. Why
bullshit.
would he do that? You know what he said? He's like, he didn't beat me with his talent. He didn't, take me down, or he didn't show me his talent, or show that he was way better against me on that day. But bro, you lost.
True. That's like Aljamain Sterling saying I
Yeah.
deserve the title.
So,
Not true.
You know what Sean O'Malley said? He's like, he didn't plan to kick my nerve.
Bullshit, bro. Bullshit. That's... See, again, like that's why this card is like... I'm just looking forward to the main card. That's it, bro.
Yeah. I have not that much interest. I'll watch the fight, but I have not that much
I'm just
interest.
very interested for the heavyweight bout because ever since they announced it, like we all knew Miocic is going to fight Francis Ngannou. That being said, let's jump into it. Let's jump into the main card
Straight,
right now.
bro. I
yeah?
think that's the only card, only
that's
fight
the only
that
card.
worth talking about. Only bout worth talking about.
So let's start with Miocic.
Miocic, bro, the greatest heavyweight of all time. That's what everybody's saying,
Yeah.
and I completely agree with it. Not only that, he's outstruck everybody, has held records of outstriking. He's defended his belts more than any heavyweight ever.
True that. I think three title defenses right now.
I think this is the fourth.
This is the fourth. This will be his fourth one running.
And who has he fought? He's fought everybody.
Like
Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
He's
everyone.
He's fought DC thrice.
Thrice. That's what, you know. So he did have a little back and forth with DC. He had 3 fights. Of course, the first one is where he lost.
Yeah.
And that's where DC became double champ.
Yeah.
And then he came back and avenged his loss twice. So the trilogy was in the bag.
So even though that people call him the greatest heavyweight of all time, and I completely agree with that, but I feel that he's the most underrated combat athlete ever.
True.
Think about it, Rahul.
True.
Just think about it. With the kind of run he's at. See, it's not that he's in a generation that he has to fight chumps. He has fought the best of the best.
Yeah.
And every fight he's an underdog.
Yeah. But he said, you know what he said in the press conference today, right? He was, in a podcast with 411 MMA. So he's like, I know Vegas hates me.
Yeah.
The odds are always against me, so I don't give a fuck anymore.
Bro, you know who loves him? Cleveland. Not only because he's from there, because everyone bets on him as an underdog. They fucking
and they make money.
Out.
Yeah, true that. That's what's going to happen now. But bro, I was checking the odds right now. They're getting very level.
They're getting level?
Very level. Like
but right now he's an underdog.
Yeah, right. He's going to be the underdog. When he steps into the ring too, he's going to be an underdog.
At least 1-0, he's underdog right now.
So, but the odds are a little bit leveling. It's not like a huge margin.
Yeah. And when it comes to Ngannou, we both are Ngannou fans. And after the Joe Rogan podcast,
bro, great.
What a story, bro.
Great. Bro, see, it's I would say like a lot of people are saying that it could be one of the greatest athlete stories of all time. I think it's going to be one of the greatest human being stories of all time.
It's up there.
Like if he wins on Sunday, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
Regardless, it's a movie, but now it's a fucking movie,
It's a movie.
bro.
It's a movie.
It's a fucking movie. I was having a discussion about this with when I was in class with Kazan, and he's like, okay, let's think about it. Even if his movie goes through, who the fuck is going to act like Ngannou? There's nobody.
You know who's playing Mike Tyson?
Yo, bro, Jamie Foxx.
So then they'll find
who,
somebody,
bro? Come on, like Ngannou
Michael J. White, bro. What are you saying?
Yo, Michael J. White, bro. But Michael J. White's 5'11".
He's 5'11".
Yeah, he's 5'11".
But now on camera, he's
5'11". Idris Elba or someone might just do it.
Idris Elba, yeah.
So, so that being said...
But you know Michael J. White also played Mike Tyson?
Yeah?
You don't know
what
this?
The fuck?
In the first
That's why I don't know
and
it,
Mike
right?
Tyson got pissed off also.
No shit, bro. I'm sure they didn't get his approval.
Yeah, so Ngannou comes with the greatest knockout power out there.
Yeah.
He's it's like a train coming and hitting your face.
Absolutely.
But what you saw in the last fight was he was just throwing haymakers left, right, and center. He was just going for the kill.
Yeah.
And
are you talking about when he was fighting Miocic?
Miocic.
Okay.
He was going for the kill. He was just going with haymakers left, right, and center, and he got gassed out in the first round.
You could tell. You could absolutely tell because he was having trouble walking to his corner. Like his hands were on his fucking his waist.
Yeah, waist.
And then when he went into the later rounds, you saw what Miocic did.
Yeah, but that's what... Remember last time I was telling you about with Kamaru Usman, that what is championship rounds, that not everybody's ready for championship rounds, championship mentality, because it's not the game of who is the strongest, who has the one punch, The game is MMA.
Absolutely.
And the game is for 5 rounds.
Absolutely.
When it's a championship bout, right?
Yeah.
So Miocic being very smart, again the underdog in that fight too. I think he dominated Ngannou.
So why I feel he dominated also is because let's not forget that he was eating some very hard shots from Ngannou. Like Ngannou was fucking letting his shots fly. And Miocic, I think he arguably could have one of the greatest chins in the UFC,
agree,
brother.
Completely agree.
Like,
jitna usne khaya, bro, koi nahi khaya.
Like, have you seen that? Yeah, true that. Like, have you seen that fucking Alistair Overeem knockout by Ngannou? Have you seen the Blades knockout by Ngannou? Bro, he slapped him. That's how he avenged his loss against Blades, right? He fucking slapped him, bro. And this Miocic is eating all the crosses, all the hooks, all the jabs.
Yeah.
Bro?
Every time Miocic was going for a takedown, he got it.
Yeah.
Ngannou didn't have that crazy uppercut when he was going for the takedown. He didn't give that crazy knee when he was going for the takedown. Unfortunately, like we all know that Ngannou is fucking crazy power. He's gonna come like a missile.
Yeah.
But he's outperformed his last 4 fights, first round knockouts. But he's not been tested for in the deep waters, right? Now think about it. You're fighting a 5-round bout with Miocic, who's gone 5 rounds with you.
Yeah.
But all your last 4 fights have been 1 round, right?
Yeah.
So
One
the ring
round, bro.
rust-
You know.
10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds.
His
whatever.
last 4 fights apparently have ended in under 3 minutes.
Under 3 minutes, 4 fights.
So 4 fights under 3 minutes. And then I don't like, that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, how can you come out there and say I'm a changed fighter? You've not been tested, bro.
No, what happens is you are tested in the gym, but that doesn't count. What counts is when you're under the lights,
Absolutely.
when you're with the crowd, when the title is on the line, you know.
You're on the octagon is when Bruce Buffer announces you into the ring, into the octagon. That's when it all matters.
That's all that matters, bro. You can be a crazy gym warrior for all you
Yeah,
know, bro. You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's it, bro.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter in real life.
So,
But you know what I like about Miocic is that he's also like Khabib. You know, last time I think the first fight night, you said, is it the generation of the good guys? Don't you feel that this guy comes in that?
Fact. It's a fact, bro. You know what I feel is
He's a firefighter.
Yeah. You know what I feel is that Miocic has a lot more to gain than Ngannou in this, because this is Miocic just
Kya baat
bro. I
kar raha hai,
definitely
bro?
think so. I'm telling you. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because this is a way to tell, bro. He's being tested against Ngannou. Ngannou has received all the praise after his 4 fights. Yeah. Everyone is just talking a lot of things about Ngannou. He is the correct number 1 contender for the heavyweight bout. But bro, everyone like me and you, how did we start off this podcast?
Yeah.
By giving respect to Miocic.
Yeah.
That he's not gotten his respect.
He's not gotten
That's why I feel that, bro, if he knocks Ngannou out now, bro, Mount Rushmore for sure. You put him up there with the greats. I'm telling you, he has a lot more to gain.
No, he does have a lot more to gain, but you have to understand that he's gained it all. Like
Yes.
he has the champ. See, when you're holding the gold,
bro, he's still underdog.
when you're holding the gold and the light always glistens on you.
Absolutely.
And then the
Absolutely.
opponent, you know, he also wants a little bit of the shine.
Absolutely.
You know.
No, I agree, but
So he's under the shadow, bro.
Bro, but this is a way of him asking for his damn respect, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with Kamaru. After Kamaru's last bout, everyone gave him his fucking respect.
Yeah, for sure.
Before that fight, what was he? Oh, Kamaru Usman. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
But this Miocic also at 38, he's looking
Bro, great.
in good shape.
Great. He's a
Very good
firefighter,
shape.
right? So that's your
You know what
bread and
said?
butter.
Dana White said that he was speaking to Miocic, you know, before the press conference. And he asked Miocic, so when you have a bout coming out, especially a championship bout, do you get a holiday? Do you get like 3 weeks off or something? So Miocic is like, I just worked on Friday.
Fair enough, bro. That's facts, yo. That's a hard-working firefighter.
Crazy,
you know,
bro.
Did you see that picture of Miocic, bro? He was cleaning the bathroom with his belt on. Humble. So, talking about Ngannou, do you think Ngannou is like Deontay Wilder of
No.
the UFC, brother?
No. I'll
Like
tell you why.
Deontay Wilder is always like he's also that power puncher. You know, he's that
Deontay-
one-man knockout.
Deontay is a power puncher, but in all his fights, he's only relied on the punch. Okay, and the punch has worked for him 40 fights. Why? Because boxing, you can't do anything else but punch back.
Correct.
Slip, punch back.
Absolutely.
Duck, punch back.
Absolutely.
But when Ngannou punches,
It's good night.
Stipe can kick him, can take him down. You know.
No, I'm
can
not talking
submit
about the
him.
martial art.
Yeah. As a martial artist also.
I'm not talking about the martial art.
Yeah,
I'm just
so-
talking about like how
no,
they are relying on their punches.
Yeah,
how you
yeah.
rely on
So that's what
one
I'm
limb.
saying. So if you see the first press conference now, you see that Ngannou is very confident. Stipe is the same. Everyone's asking Stipe, are you scared of him? Are you scared of him? You know, look at what Dana just said about his power. It's fucking like a jackhammer and it's like an elephant running and it's like a tank and whatnot. And Stipe is like, no man, I'm in here for the fight and I'm going to fight. I'm
Yeah,
not
fair
scared.
enough.
And then Ngannou's like, but what if I connect?
You didn't last fight, bro.
Another thing he said when they asked him, so what about your takedown techniques and takedown defense and all of that? So what Ngannou said is like, and Stipe and Cormier were sitting, heavyweight and light heavyweight champion were sitting together. And Ngannou said that fight camp is not about learning new technique.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
It's not about learning new
Yeah.
technique.
Yeah.
It's about developing.
It's
as
about
in
practicing. It's about practicing.
And Miocic and Daniel
Come
looked at
in
each
like,
other like, what?
What is he saying, bro?
Are you mad? It's the opposite.
But let's also give the benefit of the doubt to Ngannou. Man was suffering. You know, he didn't have a proper camp. He was to and fro,
No,
Paris
that's what
to
everybody
Vegas,
says, bro. That's what everybody
to and fro. But bro, you gotta, bro.
No, but that's what everybody says. You have to figure it out.
You know, even Ngannou's a nice
You know what
guy.
Bas Rutten said?
Ngannou's a nice guy too. You know, like he's
Ngannou?
also a
Very
fucking
nice
humble guy.
Are very humble.
You
guy,
know,
very
so I would
nice
believe him that no, you know, it was not Ngannou at his peak.
But it doesn't matter because when you take the fight, you gotta perform.
Of course,
Right?
Of course.
So you know what Bas Rutten used to say when he used to go to Pride and fight in Japan? He would take his own water.
Yeah, fair
Because
enough.
you don't trust anything. You don't
Absolutely.
trust anybody. You don't have any
Absolutely.
excuses. When you
Absolutely.
lose, you lose.
Yeah.
So like that even Conor McGregor said, ring rust, this,
Yeah.
that, and all. But man, Dustin whooped your ass.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I still feel that it wasn't Ngannou at his peak when he fought Miocic. That's why we're going to see another beast in Ngannou. And of course, bro, Kamaru's in the corner.
Kamaru's on the corner.
So Kamaru Usman's in the corner, and they interviewed Kamaru, and he said that
He's cornered him before also.
yeah, before Nigerian brothers, dude. If Ngannou wins, Africa stand up.
Yes, sir.
Africa stand up. The UFC is yours.
Yeah, I think
UFC
Dana
Africa.
Dana White has told him that if you become the champ, the first
Yeah.
African event is going to be headlined by you.
Of course, but that's going to be crazy because you got Izzy, you got Kamaru, and now you got Ngannou.
But Ngannou is the closest, I think, to Africa because I think Kamaru's been in America since... he was a college wrestler, no?
college
Collegiate
wrestler, yeah. But originally from Nigeria.
Yeah, originally
Parents
from
are still in Nigeria. Even Israel's descendants are from Nigeria, and Ngannou's from Cameroon.
Are Israel's parents living in Nigeria?
Yes, yes. Both Kamaru and Israel's parents are living in Nigeria. So it's gonna be fucking crazy to watch.
So this one bout is definitely going to be exciting. The rest going to be a nice startup.
See, the rest one's like like a nice warm up.
Exactly. So
might catch them, might not.
exactly.
Would love to watch the highlights regardless. But mad excited for Ngannou versus Miocic. Hit me with the prediction.
UFC 260 predictions. Come on. Sean O'Malley versus Almeida.
I mean, pick, bro. Both, bro. Okay, I'm going for.
Come on, just...
Thomas Almeida.
I'm going for O'Malley, round 3, TKO.
Thomas Almeida, first round, he's going to knock out Sean O'Malley. Yes, bro, I'm telling you, that shit's going to go down. Don't complain about nerve pulls.
Okay.
That's it. That's facts.
Okay. Tyron Woodley versus Vincent.
I think Woodley will get one.
Even
I think Woodley will get one.
Yeah, he deserves a comeback.
He'll get one.
Which
Second round.
Second round?
Knockout.
Second round TKO. And then...
Hey, regardless, I don't know who Abu Bakr is fighting.
Abu Bakr.
Oh, he's fighting Wooden.
Okay,
Some
we
guy
support
called
Abu
Wooden.
Bakr.
Abu Bakr, and it's the Dagestani are taking over. I think after Africa, it's the Dagestani boys.
Dagestani is already killing it, bro.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like...
They're taking over AK,
Yeah.
they're taking over Dubai, Nas Arena.
But I'm talking about belts, fam. I'm talking about belts. Right now, no Dagestani national holds any
End
title.
of this year, Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, that's it. If not end of this year, next summer, it's done.
Now, main event. Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic. Who you got?
Ngannou first round, uppercut.
Knockout.
Uppercut.
I'm going Stipe by decision.
Okay, that's going to be an interesting bout
It's going to
then.
be an interesting bout. We'll be back Monday. Ciao.
Let's go. Final round, baby. We back. UFC 260. And new Africa stand up. Thoughts, brother.
I think we should just straight go into the Ngannou.
And new. Repeat after me. And new.
Fun bout, bro. Crazy bout. Stipe is a slow starter. He's been a slow starter for all his fights, and it's a well-known fact. Another fact is that he could not KO or TKO Ngannou for sure.
Very, very, very
Right?
doubtful.
But in that third DC match, he looked renewed. He looked like he developed a new game altogether for the third DC fight. For the second DC fight, if you see, DC is controlling the entire fight until he levels up.
In the later rounds, he took over.
Yeah, but in the third fight, he controlled the entire fight. For this fight, when it started, I was like, okay, he's a slow starter. Okay, let's see. But the moment Francis denied him of the first takedown,
Yo, that's when everyone realized.
fight was over.
Yeah, and not only that, even seeing Francis Ngannou walking into the arena, he was just so composed, calm, relaxed, and you could see the weight difference. Ngannou clocked in at 265 pounds.
And they weighed in
Bro,
at 260. He
like
weighed in at 263.
263, so he was easily 280, I'm guessing. 280,
He was at least
285.
270, 275.
And you could see the size difference. There was a massive size difference. Of course, John Anik, DC, Joe Rogan were like, I hope the muscles don't, fatigue him in the earlier rounds. But Ngannou looked like a different animal, a different beast. Like this guy, I don't think anyone can touch him right now.
Yeah. Even in the last fight with the same coach, why everybody was a little skeptical of Ngannou is because even in the last fight, he had the same coaches. He'd gone through a similar fight camp, but he didn't stick to the plan. He just went haymakers, finished the fight in 30-40 seconds.
Correct.
So then everyone was like, dude, what makes you think he's going to do anything different right now? But you saw that everybody was saying that nothing is scarier than a calm Ngannou.
True that. Calm Ngannou is a new meme.
Calm Ngannou is really scary.
And bro, the surprising thing was like we've seen Ngannou fights. If he connects one punch, he'll go for the kill. But in this, he was playing it very smart.
Very smart.
He was connecting. He was falling back into place, breathing, relaxing, and then he was connecting those leg kicks. He got one.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and he got one left. He got one lead roundhouse on the head.
It was just the toes.
Yeah.
But Ngannou's toes, I could see that.
Yeah.
Brushed
And
Stipe's chin,
like you said, I was waiting for Miocic to go for a takedown, but the way he controlled that takedown, went on Miocic's back and just beat his ass.
I thought that was the end of the fight. What happens is that the referees let go a little bit more in championship fights, especially if the champion is involved in getting the beat down. So the referees allow it a little bit.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Much you can't end it too early.
But Miocic has a great chin.
Yo, Miocic is the baddest man on the planet.
The baddest man on the planet.
He was the baddest man on the planet as of yesterday.
Rahul, the first punch he took,
people would have got knocked out. People would have got knocked out.
It was straight on the temple, bro. I was
people would have got knocked out.
He was fully rocked, but I was like, how is he standing?
What a chin.
And then to come back and even attempt to fight, even attempt to make distance, even attempt to try and hold your defense.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
Absolutely. And then after the first round, when they went back to their corners, like it was Ngannou's corners, like, stay calm and composed, and Miocic's corner was like start getting aggressive, and that's where the whole thing shifted, because when Ngannou caught that fucking left hook, it was night.
Yeah. So basically, what I saw is that Stipe couldn't close the distance with Ngannou. He wanted to take takedowns, but even to strike, even he could like to jab. Stipe didn't throw any kicks. And Ngannou was closing distance very nicely, but he was keeping calm and he was not going in for the kill immediately.
Absolutely.
So when Stipe was coming in, he was giving it to Stipe. So Stipe couldn't step in.
Yeah.
He denied Stipe a step in.
And to be honest with you, after that takedown defense that Ngannou showed in the first round, because it turned against him, right? He was on his... Like Ngannou was on his back, like just giving him those shots. So he didn't even go for the second takedown.
What shots?
What shots? Like monstrous shots.
It would be over in any other fight.
Scary hours.
Scary.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Ngannou threw a lovely jab that actually got him down, right?
Yeah.
That got Miocic down. Yeah. And then Miocic came back up.
Yeah.
Came back up, tried to like regroup. And then again, like Ngannou just caught a nice left hook when he was coming in. No.
So Stipe got up. And with his might, he gave a cross to Ngannou on his face. Connected.
Okay.
Do you see the replay? He connected so beautifully that he got the confidence that I'm going to take Ngannou down. But Ngannou ate it and immediately...
Through that left hook.
And
that left hook was like a very close connecting left hook.
It was a check hook.
It was like pop.
Yeah.
In and out, and then, bro, the way Miocic like fell, like it was like a deck of cards.
Bro, I'm telling you, you see that? Stipe gets him with all his might. He thinks he's connected. The commentator is also saying that Stipe must have thought he's connected properly and he's going to take Ngannou down. But bro,
not today.
Ngannou is like, this is mine.
This is mine, yo. This is mine. And I think...
but well deserved.
Very well deserved. And
what
of course,
performance.
Of course, and I also believe that after his slump, like after Ngannou's slump, adversity truly introduces a man to himself. Bro.
Yes, absolutely.
And with the amount of adversity Ngannou has faced, nobody on this planet has faced as much.
Absolutely. And he proved that he's not here just because of his God-given gift of power.
Yes.
He is here to get the title.
Correct.
And he's going to do whatever it takes.
Correct. And hopefully retain the damn title.
Today he looked like an MMA fighter.
Damn, he did.
Right?
He did.
Moving around. Oh, did you see when Stipe tried to take him down? He defended the takedown and he wanted to wrestle Stipe. And then his coach is like, back off.
Yeah.
And DC is like, Ngannou shouldn't offensively wrestle.
Correct.
He should only defensively wrestle.
But yeah. And bro, come on, with Kamaru in your corner, you're learning from the best.
The best, bro.
The best.
I think Kamaru helped because Kamaru has also gone through that adversity that you're talking about, being a championship fighter and not getting the respect, literally.
True.
Kamaru taught him to stay calm, because I think staying calm is what won Kamaru
Absolutely.
the last fight.
Absolutely.
Staying calm and using the most simplest and the most basic punch.
Stick to your
in
basics,
boxing.
man. Stick to your basics.
Jab.
Yeah.
Right?
Jab. Wins
Yeah,
fights.
wins fights.
That's it.
So Kamaru also said this only, that all throughout the entire camp, he was just telling Francis, my brother, calm down.
Relax.
That's the way you're going to win it.
Relax. Bro, but I just realized that Ngannou has the flyest walk ever. Have you seen the guy walk? Have you seen the guy walk, bro? Like his walk is underrated.
It's underrated.
This guy walks like, he's fucking
But you like Ngannou
a
dreadlocks?
champion.
You like Ngannou dreadlocks or you like
I like now Ngannou.
Now,
because
yeah.
Ngannou now is like a fly cat.
Yeah, now he looks scarier.
You saw his outfit and shit, he knew he was going to win.
Yeah.
He knew it, he knew it. Of course, everyone's talking about the man.
Yeah.
The next bout, Jon Jones.
Did you see the post-fight press conference?
Yes.
So everyone obviously asked Dana White that Jon Jones is already posted, show me the money, let's do it. And Dana threw some heavy jabs at Jon, saying that,
Get your
let's
ass
do the
back.
fight. Yeah. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Money.
Yeah.
Let's do the fight.
Yeah.
Because Jon is not next. It's Derek Lewis.
Yeah, it's Derek Lewis. And no, I think it's a Miocic trilogy, to be honest.
No.
That's a fair one.
Normally what happens is that when you get such a bad KO now, you move on to...
But I think Miocic does deserve another fight with Ngannou. I would love to see that.
Yeah. So like why DC and Miocic was a good trilogy is because both got KO'd. You know?
Yes, true.
Whereas Ngannou
But I'm looking at
demolished.
I'm looking at it from such a point of view that Miocic, of course, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, does deserve a third match with Ngannou. He does.
Take my money.
Yeah, take my money, dude. That's it. Think about it. You can't
100%.
Like I think this should be Miocic's last fight.
See, bro,
He's 38.
I'll tell you, with Ngannou, I'm going to see any fight.
Any fight right now.
But
fight.
I'm happy with
fight.
the Stipe fight.
Any fight. And I think
a Stipe trilogy would make me happy.
To be honest with you, I think Miocic should fight Ngannou
and
for a title and then retire.
Yeah.
Then retire. Retire a champion or retire even if he gets that L.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
I don't mind it. I don't mind the trilogy, to be honest. But it's doubtful because it's not going to be the money fight now because he's fully demolished now. Ngannou has nothing to prove, right?
No, like a farewell fight.
Like a
That's
farewell
it.
fight, yeah.
So
Derek Lewis, again, that's going to be a good sell because power versus power.
Correct.
DC said that people are underestimating Derek Lewis's power. Everyone's just talking about Ngannou, but trust me, this guy is the same.
The highest knockouts in UFC history, right?
12.
In the heavyweight division.
Yeah. Ngannou's 10, this guy's 12.
12.
But Derek Lewis, I think, as compared... Ngannou is very athletic.
He's the most athletic in the
most
division
athletic
right now.
heavyweight. Moves around very... We've not seen Jon Jones in the ring at heavyweight. So Derek Lewis is not as athletic for sure. He just has the power. He doesn't move around. He throws some nice kicks, jumping roundhouses and all he throws. But
correct. He's a chubby heavyweight like DC.
I think Derek Lewis really just depends on his power. Whereas Ngannou realized that for the championship belt, he needs to do more.
Yeah. And I think now Ngannou is not like we saw in this bout. Like everyone who was talking that all Ngannou depends on is his fucking cross.
Yeah.
He's a one-punch knockout artist. But he's proven that now he's an all-rounded fighter. And it's so... bro, like everyone was just talking about the lightweight division.
Yeah.
Lightweight. And now I think heavyweight. is here.
And
Ngannou is the perfect face for the heavyweight
and then Dana
division.
said, Dana is like...
Uncle Dana.
Uncle Dana is like, if I was Jon Jones, I would go back to 185.
You better.
Bro, that's the biggest insult ever.
Come on. I think he's trying to fucking rile up Jon Jones, man.
Jon Jones said also, he posted also saying that, this is a way to sell a fight. I'm scared and all. I ain't scared. Show me the money. I'm just asking for money.
But bro, come on. Let's be realistic. I'm pretty sure Jon Jones is scared. Come on, bro. Come on. If anybody can retire Jon Jones right now, it's fucking Francis Ngannou. There's nobody in the division.
But Jon Jones has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, bro.
He does, bro. But he's
very well all-rounded. And you understand, Jon Jones comes from a legacy of...
I completely understand. He's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
He is in the GOAT conversation. He is in the Mount Rushmore conversation.
But have you noticed one thing, bro?
What?
Okay. Now, for example, the way Khabib is treated, the way GSP, McGregor is treated.
Yes.
So when McGregor says, I want the fight, Dana is like, let's make whatever you want happen. Khabib says, I want to do this, let's make whatever you want happen. Right?
Absolutely.
But with Jon Jones, I don't think they have that kind of relationship
man,
because
no.
John Jones has troubled
Correct.
UFC so much
Bro,
with his drugs.
Absolutely,
and,
you're absolutely right. Because he tainted his legacy with the amount of controversies that he's
like right now, what did
gotten
you say?
into.
What did you say right now? That he's the best ever.
Yeah.
Now a best ever who's grown up in this
Correct.
organization.
Correct.
Why is he not getting that kind of respect?
Correct.
It's because it's tainted.
You know who I compare him to? Do you remember footballer Adriano?
Yeah.
You know, like he
The
was
Brazilian.
bro. He was, if not one of
AC
the
Milan,
greatest, Inter Milan.
Inter Milan.
Like he was known to be like one of the greatest Brazilians to come out and play in Europe. But what happened? He got into
Sex,
like
drug and rock and roll.
he got into sex, drugs and rock and roll. Exactly. And bro, one day he just like disappeared. And right now he's living in the favelas, bro.
Oh damn, he's in the
He's
favelas.
in the favelas in Brazil.
He's in the slums.
Like he's in the slums, and you see him play, bro. You see his highlights, one of the greatest
course I know
all time.
Adriano,
Come on,
bro.
bro.
Yeah.
You've seen his fucking Brazil goals
Bro,
and all
we
with
should download
Ronaldinho.
the best of
Yeah,
these
bro.
tricks and all from
LimeWire and shit.
LimeWire.
Aries, my guy. You know. So I just hope that it's not such an ending for John Jones.
Yeah, bro. But so I think 2021, lots more exciting fights to come. This John Jones and Ngannou. Oh my lord.
Wow.
Oh my lord.
Wow.
What a press conference.
UFC Africa, mate.
UFC Africa.
Yeah.
That's what I was going
Let's take it to
bro.
Africa.
Let's take it to Africa. Now you send me that video on Instagram about the whole.
Bro, you saw that shit. You saw that
city.
shit. Bro, goosebumps. I'm still getting goosebumps, bro.
The whole city is going crazy, bro, and such a
crazy.
good feeling when
Wow.
this
Wow.
guy was sent back 7 times or 9 times.
11
times.
11 times.
Back to the Sahara Desert. Go back, travel back.
Let's talk about how his like a quick segment of what Ngannou, of course, for a more detailed review of what Ngannou went through for everybody watching. I urge you go on JRE, watch Ngannou's podcast because Ngannou, a taxi driver in Cameroon, one day drinking beer
Taxi
with his
driver?
like a bike taxi driver. One day at the age of 21 is sitting with his friends having a beer and suddenly manifests that I'm going to become a boxing heavyweight champion of the world.
Yes,
Sets off on 18-month journey from Cameroon to Europe. Doesn't know where he's going to go to Europe. Reaches Morocco.
Sells his bike.
Yes. Sells everything. Sells all his possessions from Morocco. Has to, by sea in a floaty, has to go from Morocco to Spain. Denied 11 times.
Yeah.
The authorities throw him into the Sahara Desert to die.
Yeah.
Right? Comes back. In his 12th journey, makes it to Spain only to be arrested for 2 months and thrown into jail.
Without knowing the language.
From Spain goes to Paris.
Yeah.
Homeless.
Yeah.
Starts training at the age of 25. Today he's 34.
Yeah.
So he's not even been practicing mixed martial arts for his life. Like you can say like 9 years, bro.
Yeah.
So this is a fucking movie.
This is a movie, and God is great in many different ways because when he went to Paris, he just stumbled upon a boxing gym.
Absolutely.
The guy the owner of the gym supported him, gave him an opportunity, gave him equipment, gave him clothes, and this is what breeds a champion.
Yeah, bro, absolutely. But again, champions.
Good on them also,
Good on
and
them.
when they asked Ngannou that where do you want to see next, where do you want to take this to? So he said Paris. He's like, Paris won't have us right now because of COVID, but Paris, because I could see that. I know I was thinking Africa like you, but he must have said Paris because it's those people have given him
makes a lot of sense.
so much. I was shocked with that answer.
Even I was pretty shocked because when he gets introduced by Bruce Buffer, fighting out of Paris, France, and then they'll say Cameroon as
Hey,
well.
one more question. This Stipe Miocic doesn't have a ring name.
No. That's a good call out.
I just realized today.
Yeah, he doesn't have a ring name. Absolutely.
Because they just said Stipe Miocic.
Stipe Miocic. Yeah, he doesn't. Fuck.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude, damn. But that guy's a real life hero, bro. A firefighter. Like, of course, before in the first round, we were all talking about Stipe Miocic. Yeah. That's the whole thing, right? Like once somebody loses, you stop talking about
when
them.
The gold passes on, the talk passes to the holder of the gold.
Sad. It's very sad. So that being said, I think like this fight just overshadows every other fight. Like
it does, and good on him, bro.
Yeah, good on him.
Fight.
Good on him.
Exciting times. You're gonna see all the Ngannou fights. He wants to stay active, so he's gonna fight 3 times a year. That's what he's saying. But I think only one more is gonna happen. They're not gonna let him fight 3 because there are chances of him losing, and they don't want a title holder to lose so quick.
All I'm saying is stay away from these African guys, man. Stay away from Kamaru Usman. Stay away
3
from
kings, bro.
The 3 kings are back. They've dominated. Stay away
3
from
titles
them.
to Africa.
3 titles to Africa. Africa, the three kings, you know.
I'm glad, bro.
Africa, it should be AFC now, not UFC, you know, African fighting championship. So all I'm saying is stay away from these
Exciting
African killers.
Yeah. And then going back to the first bout, Sean O'Malley versus Almeida. I found Sean O'Malley to be a great fighter.
Wow, what swagger, bro.
Not swagger also, but just on top of his game. Super mixed martial artist.
Super, bro. That spinning back kick, my God, that.
But
fucking
Rahul, the
spin.
thing is, when you throw one, it's okay.
When you
throw
throw
two, it's okay.
When you keep throwing that
When
shit,
it comes out in a flow, that means you know your shit. Okay? So, I don't get it because when they say styles make fights, but the Almeida was a very stand-up Muay Thai, just striker.
Yeah, you know, even
And this guy was so loose, like Conor McGregor style, switching
very,
stances.
very Conor
and
McGregor
the most
style.
beautiful feints. I think better than Izzy was giving feints.
Bro, this guy was like...
you saw the face feints?
Yeah, like pop, 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 pop. And like this guy has one loss, which was his last fight. But this guy is like a championship breed fighter.
He's going to become a champ.
He's going to become a champ. Like champ. And Almeida was just too hesitant to throw any punches or kicks.
So, Sean O'Malley, basically one thing I saw is that he said also that I just enter the ring twice a year, once a year, maybe maximum thrice a year. And so I have to give a highlight reel, you know. So, great performance in the first round. He could have finished that guy.
Yeah,
the most beautiful head kick, which precisely the shin connected to the face. Everyone is like, we don't know how that guy is standing up.
True.
That guy also, what are
Thomas
these chins
Almeida.
in UFC?
Yo,
I don't
yo,
get
yo.
it, bro. Only iron
Tried
chins.
and tested, fam.
Yeah, iron
Tried
chins.
and tested.
Straight up, bro. And that guy stood up and fought the fucking next 2 rounds also. But man, this guy was on the attack.
True that.
He could have finished the bout in the first round. But he just wanted that walk-off highlight reel.
Yes.
Which was...
Where he did the fade away, right?
No, the first round.
First round, okay.
First round, he gave him a kick, he gave him a punch. That guy was going down and he thought that
he stopped.
Yeah, he should have finished him that time, but he moved back.
Yes.
And but then he got the same in the third round.
Yeah, broke his ankles as good as that.
Yeah.
You know?
So in the third round also he got him, moved back. Then the referee's like, I'm not ending it now. Then
go
went
for
back
it.
and...
Pop. Prospect of the night, definitely O'Malley. I'm very excited to see him. Possibly
Smooth.
very smooth, very smooth. I think he would be a great replacement. Like, I think he's got a lot of Conor characteristics.
Absolutely. Conor, again, was a very well-rounded MMA fighter, right? MMA is when you want to see all the aspects.
Everything.
Right? So, smooth.
Yeah.
So, he needs a better opponent, for sure.
True.
He needs to, I think, basically, I think he is a little distracted with all the YouTube and all the media and all. Because he does a lot of that also. But, now it's a fighter. That's his...
Correct. You got to sell fights, right?
You got to sell fights and you got to sell yourself at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So I think if he just puts his head to this, I think definitely championship material.
And let's not forget, Uncle Dana doesn't pay that well.
Yeah. Then
moving on to a very sad bout, bro. We possibly, we possibly seen.
where is it? You genuinely felt bad.
Bro, come on, bro. Tyrone, bro. Like Woodley, dude, I thought that, okay, chal. He's done so much for the sport.
You got emotional.
He's done so much for the sport. I was seeing his highlights last night. I was like, okay, let's watch a few of Woodley's highlights. And of course, a very well-rounded fighter, but black belt and loved, like he's got a lot of fans.
After he made the song, I'll whoop your ass, he's never won a round.
So this Luke guy knows how to eat. Again, a fucking powerful chin.
Again, Woodley started the fight little over the top aggressive.
Over the top. But he connected.
No, he connected later on. But he started the fight over the top aggressive, straight going to wrestling, But the thing is, I could see that, at least my assumption, that he was doing it again for the highlight reel. He's doing it that, Dana, you think I'm out of this game? Watch me. I'm going to get the title again.
Watch me.
So he was on that trip. That from what I could see, the body language,
Correct.
that you want to prove a point. You want to outclass your opponent, that
yes,
nobody everyone else talks to you, talks about you.
He wanted to do like a Max Holloway sort of a performance, but not going to happen.
Yeah. So you have to plan it. You have to do it according to your game plan. Now Max is known for his kind of output.
Absolutely. And one thing that I think that Woodley has to understand is that Gilbert Burns was in Luke's corner and he's beaten you. So you don't go out there.
Bro, Gilbert Burns, you know what he told Luke?
What?
Vincent. Okay, this guy has a defense for the Dars. Okay, so don't waste your time unless it's fully locked in. Don't waste your time on any chokes because this guy is good on the ground.
Good, and he's I think he's an All-American wrestling champ.
But he was rocked so hard that when he went in for the Dars, there was zero defense. Gassed.
No way out.
From what I saw, my amateur eyes, I thought he gave up. Didn't you feel that?
Yeah. But you know, in the middle,
his team was saying that you know how to get out of this. You know. Don't worry, take it easy.
But he was rocked. Yeah, he was rocked. Man got rocked. But to be honest with you, when Woodley connected, I thought Woodley won. He was going to knock out Luque.
Absolutely.
Like he connected a
beautiful
some good shots.
Vincent said also I could see 2-3 of Woodley.
Yeah. Oh shit.
He said it in the post fight.
Oh shit. These Brazilians, dude. I mean, like, what's going down right now? Like,
I think
it's these Brazilians and these Africans just coming out and destroying.
If Woodley was a little cautious,
calm and composed too.
Little composed, didn't care for the highlight reel, didn't care to prove a point, just wanted to win the bout.
Yeah.
It was his bout to win.
True that.
It was his bout to win.
True that.
But he went in for the kill.
Highlight reels, dude.
And while going in for the kill, he got killed.
Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah.
While going in for the kill, he got killed.
I mean, like, I think Uncle Dana might cut him, to be honest, because 4 fights, you've lost potentially 16 rounds.
No, I think he's going to be cut.
Yeah. Like you've not won a round in your last 4 bouts, so that just says a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, one championship calling could be. Bellator could be. And with that, it's a wrap up for UFC 260. And now we move on to your dream fight, UFC 261. Devang is jizzing in his pants.
Already, baby, let's go.
Kamaru Usman taking on Street Jesus, Judas, whatever you want to call him.
Masvidal.
Let's get it, bruh.
So
UFC 261.
Bro, I'm a big fan of Kamaru also. Okay.
Hey, you
listen
can't.
Listen to me.
Don't be a.
Listen to me.
Either
I know
udhar
you like him. I know. He looks only unbeatable.
Africa, don't mess with these killers.
I'm telling you, he looks unbeatable.
Bro, he'll stomp you.
Yeah. That was my favorite video.
I've never seen anybody shadow stop, bro.
Yeah, that was epic. That was epic. See, when you make fun of yourself like this now, I respect you.
True.
Because then you know how to how to handle media. You know how to handle the public and the crowd, you know?
True.
But yeah, man, I am a big fan of Usman, but
yeah.
My God. April, bro. Ooh.
I mean, let's get it.
Let's get it, bro. Oh, but another fight on my birthday. Jake Paul.
Ben Askren. Yo, come on. You saw that fucking... 5
minutes. Let's discuss it.
Chal.
Because everything combat sports.
I just want to... everything combat sport. But what I want to ask you is, did you see that fucking... whatever, they came face to face.
Yeah.
You saw that fucking body shot Ben Askren ate like nothing happened. Bro, you know you have to change your predictions for this.
No, I'll tell you... that is one thing that I was like, Jake Paul shouldn't have done is get so agitated because it just shows that you're going to waste a lot of energy.
Correct.
Right?
Uncle Ben.
But man, Ben Askren just can't throw a punch, bro.
Bro, you don't know, bro.
He can eat a lot.
But my guy...
He knows how to maintain distance. He'll take the rounds further. But I'm telling you, he can't strike. I'm honestly...
I completely understand.
I tried to find one video. Rahul, I'm not joking. I tried to find one video of him doing good heavy bags.
Reels?
In the fight, so he just takes people down, doesn't do anything.
He's a wrestler. He's an all-out wrestler.
I tried to find one sparring session. I tried to find one round where he's hitting mitts or heavy bags. Bro.
No?
Bro, you laugh.
Fair enough.
You laugh, but Ben is a G because he straight up says it. He says that I have the slowest twitching muscle fibers.
Oh shit. Uncle Ben
said I have the slowest twitching muscle fibers.
Uncle Ben.
He's like, my hands don't go there.
Yes.
But he's like, at the end of the day, I'm fighting a YouTuber.
Correct.
You know?
How I look, if I had to like envision this fight, right? It's Jake Paul trying to get the knockout in the first round or the second round. Okay, after that he gets gassed out. That's when Ben comes out and just starts throwing punches. Even though he doesn't know how to throw punches, he's gonna land a few. Right, and he's a combat athlete. He's an All-American wrestling champion.
He's fought Robbie Lawler.
He's been a
he's whooped. I mean, he's beaten Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, so he's been he's fought like the best fighters in the UFC. He's fought the best fighters in one championship. So this guy's tried and tested, and Jake Paul hasn't actually fought an actual fighter.
No.
You know, he's only fought like Nate Robinson.
Yeah. But you know who is he training with?
Who?
J. Leon Love.
Okay.
You know who that is?
Okay, no.
So J. Leon Love, it's a very famous story that...
Jake Paul's training with him?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Listen to this.
Fuck Jake Paul,
He's
you know?
Mayweather's fighter. So
Man.
what happened was that he somehow got into the Mayweather gym,
Huh.
you know, and you know when Mayweather
Oh, the
says,
brother, the fucking brother's training with the Mayweather trainer?
No. So basically, Mayweather, you know, when he says that, let's get the doghouse, you shut the shutters.
You in the doghouse now?
No time limit round.
Yeah, 20 minutes and all.
15-minute round.
20, 22, 23,
Unlimited,
25,
non-stop.
30 minutes.
So Jay Leon got a chance to go in with Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather is obviously known to whoop everybody, talk and whoop their ass. 25, 30 people around the ring watching. So Jay Leon understood that Floyd has this counter. Okay. So if he takes a shot, he can give a shot also. As in that counter.
Pop, pop.
So basically, Floyd rolls a jab and then comes with a cross.
Cross, correct.
Okay, that's what he does all the time.
Correct.
So he knew that if he takes the cross, if he'll have to take a shot, but then he knows the angle where Mayweather is and he can hit him.
Hit him. Oh.
So he got Mayweather bloodied.
Oh. Crazy.
So Mayweather, after the thing, Jay Leon was sitting and he had nothing that time with him. He was just sitting and unwrapping and all of that. Floyd came and signed him that day.
Wow.
And that guy became a champion also.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's training with a
champions recognize champions, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up. No ego in this shit. Bro.
Yeah. So 17th April. Are you going to do a fight night for Jake Paul?
No, bro.
Hey, come on.
No, bro.
We said everything combat
I mean,
sports.
who's on the undercard?
Oh, bro, there's another scene.
What?
You have no idea. I know it
What?
because you don't care about all
What?
this.
Huh.
But there is a whole bout. TikTokers versus YouTubers. Yo, it's you know how much?
Bro, we are real. Like, this shit is not real.
Okay, but I'm just giving you the update. Combat sports update. So, Bryce Hall, you don't know him.
That Addison Rae's boyfriend. no?
Oh, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little bit.
Okay, and then Austin
Even that guy's fighting.
So Bryce Hall is fighting Austin McBroom.
Who's
you know
this?
how much? You know what's the purse?
What, 10 mil?
5 mil.
Okay, easy
each.
money. Okay. Then
Okay,
let's
and
get
there are
it.
5 YouTubers.
Who's the Austin guy?
Austin is one of the biggest YouTubers. He has a family channel.
Okay,
He's, they tease him because he exploits his wife and children,
heavy,
for views and all of that.
Heavy.
And there's a bet. If Bryce Hall wins, Austin McBroom gives $1 million on top.
Oh.
So he removes $1 million from his purse.
So
And
6 and 4.
6 and 4. And basically all his friends versus, so YouTubers versus TikTokers. It's a huge event. Multi-million-dollar event. The guys on the undercard get like $1 million, $2 million each. So it's a big card. Yeah. But anyways.
So I'll have to do some research if we are going to do a fight night.
This I'm not too interested about.
Let me think about it. We can do a birthday special.
But the Jake Paul one, we have to do.
Yeah, of course. Jake Paul we'll do.
Because you know Snoop Dogg.
Yo,
the
Snoop
D'Amelio
Dogg, bro, the best commentator ever.
Everybody's going to be there. Justin Bieber.
Ooh,
it's a big event.
Oh, so they've opened the arena for like general public?
No public.
Okay.
8 rounds, no public.
Oh, yo, by the way, 261 got sold out in minutes, and like it was a record.
Oh yeah, 15,000 people.
Dude, it's
Florida.
gonna be crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I'm too excited for 261, but yo, I don't want to talk about 262, or should we just quickly jump into it?
262?
Yo.
262?
Bro, Chandler versus Oliveira. Fam.
Oh!
Yo, you
what is the date for that?
I don't know. But it's 262. I think it
Is it May? Because June is corner. June or July is corner, Dustin Poirier.
I'll be May. I'm pretty sure it's May, but it's 262, bro.
So we'll be back for Ben Askren, Jake Paul, and then Masvidal and Usman.
And we out.
Ciao.